CS Professor Pam with Jumpstart Code, and we are learning how to lay out a web page using Flexbox, which is a very useful tool. We are working on this particular layout, which is from the Interneting is Hard website, although I'm coding it a little bit differently. So keep that in mind as you are referencing this document. So let me show you what we have so far. We have started, you need to, I call it the box it out theory of how to do web design. I'm working on one horizontal box at a time. In the previous video, I did just the header, and I used a header tag for that section. It consists of a paragraph and another nav in here. So this header has two children. Those two children are being formatted using display flex. We're aligning the items vertically in the center and space between horizontally, and we've given this header a certain height and background color. And if we look at what we have right now, so here is the header. Now also, hold on, here it is. But I've also added on the HTML for the next section. So let's talk about the next section. The next section has this, I'm going to call it a div with an ID of banner. So it's going to be a little bit different from the code in here. And there are these three things in it: this subscribe, this logo, and these logos as well. So I have those images here in my images folder. And what I've coded is a div. Notice my entire page is container, right? There's the closing of that. Here's the first horizontal box. So here's the second horizontal box, a div with a class of banner. And in it, I have put 3 children divs. Now, you really could do these without the divs. This could be a P and you could just have these images, but sometimes it's easier to control things with these smaller boxes inside. So I'm going to follow what the tutorial is using. So I've got the word subscribe, and if you see over here, this little arrow here is an HTML entity. So that is what this code is. It gives me that arrow. Then I've got a second class of logo that has the logo image in it, and another one that has the social media images. And since these are all block level divs or block level elements, this is what I get with no styling. All right, so now I want these 3 things to be on the same row. That means I need to target the parent, which is banner. So we're going to say dot banner, and we're going to say display flex. Now, just doing that gives me this. It wants to put those 3 things on the same row together. All right, and so that is step 1 in terms of what we want to achieve. All right, now let's give this header, we're going to give it some color and some background color. So I'm actually getting this from, in the lesson, they have a box in a box, but I don't think you need that. So I'm going to just use the one box. So this now gave me this color to this text and gave me a background color, right? Let's also give this a height, right? It's kind of wide, so let's give it a height. Actually, I want to do this here, of 300 pixels. All right, look at the change. We've got that height. Now that we have height, we want to align these things vertically and horizontally. So remember, when you display flex, you typically, there's three things you kind of do together. I want to align items, and if I say center, then that is going to be the vertical alignment. See what just happened? And let's do the horizontal alignment, which is justify content. I'm going to do space between. Right? Now, and if I want to move these things in a little bit, remember, you can always apply some padding to your parent, which is here. So if I give some padding here of 0, I think 20 pixels. So you see how that moved in on either side. I gave padding on either side. Now, if we look at the design that we're trying to do, we actually, or I'm going to show you another option. You can align, if I wanted those other buttons, the icons and the subscribe and these icons, if I want to move them down, right? Because right now they are all centered. But suppose I wanted them to move down. I want the logo in the center and I want these to move down. So let's go over to our HTML. Subscribe is one of the things that I want to do this to. So I'm going to target that class, subscribe. And if I do align self, flex end, so basically I have overridden what the default alignment for this is, and I've moved it down to the bottom, right? If I want to do that as well for these social things, then I can apply that same styling to both. Now they're probably going to need a little space from the bottom, but let's just assume that's what we want right now. All right, so we have now worked on the second big box that we have in this design. Okay, let's look at what we have next after that. So after that, we have a series of boxes. I'm just going back to my original design here. Let me just scroll up. All right. So I have these 5 boxes, right? Now there's some images in there, but I'm just going to do these with divs. We're going to make this really simple to start. Okay, so let us set up some divs to represent these things here. All right, so let's go over here. I'm making another big horizontal box. I'm going to call this class equals, let's call it in the lesson they call it photo grid container, and I am going to follow that a little bit. Okay, so inside of this, let's set up these other divs. Right, this is just going to be, I'm going to just give them numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And actually, I'm going to call this photo items. Okay, and I'm going to give each one of these a class of item. And another way to format things is to give two classes to something. So I'm going to end up showing you something here. But let's just do this to start. And I just want item to be these boxes. Okay, so let me go over here and style item. And I'm going to give item, for right now, let's just make them with 200 pixels, height 200 pixels. And I'm going to give them a border so we can see them. 1 pixel, solid black. All right, let's go find my picture here. Here it is. All right, where is my content? Let's go look and see what I did here. So class equals item, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should be seeing that content here. All right, here are my boxes. I'm not sure what happened. I think I just had to make sure everything was saved. So I have these boxes down here, right? Now, I want to give them different colors. I have these images over here, but I want to show you how you can sort of get used to what you want to do with your styling with just some colors. So I'm going to go over here and give these all a second class. So each one of these divs has two classes that they respond to. And one they have in common, and one they have unique. So I can give them some different colors. So if I say one, background color, yellow, you see? So I'm going to give them all different colors. Let me just pause the video for a second while I do this. All right, so all I've done, remember we have these items that we gave a size, and I've given each one of them a different background color. Okay, so here is what I'm seeing right now. All these divs in a row. I'm sorry, in a column, right? Because they're all block level elements. So we can control the direction of things, the flex direction, right? So right now, so let's first of all, let's go look at our parent, which is photo items, and turn that into a flex container. Right now, the default is that it wants to put them in a row, okay? But I can control that. If I wanted to have them in a column, then we can control flex direction column. And you'll see that they're now all in a vertical column, right? Now, if I want to center this, if I did want a column and I wanted to center it, so usually when we were doing the row, then the vertical alignment was align items. But now that we have switched to column, let me do right? That's my horizontal alignment. Align items is my horizontal alignment. I would need justify content to get my other alignment. So we need, when we have column, I need justify content for my horizontal because that's my main axis, and align items for my not main axis, right? So align items when my alignment is horizontal. Here's a picture that explains it. When flex direction is row, then then let's talk about the main. That means your main direction is row. Justify content applies to your main direction. When column is your direction, justify content applies to column, right? So you have to keep that in mind when you are doing this. All right. Now, we actually want this to be, we don't want column, we want row, which is the default, but I'll put it back. And when we do that, it tries to squeeze everything in one line, right? But maybe I want things to be wrapped around if they run out of space. You know, if I change the width of these things, so if I want to have like 3 of them, a maximum of 3 of them on a row, then maybe instead of a fixed width like this, maybe I want to use a percentage, like 30%. Right? But those don't look like 30% because Flex wants to try to squeeze everything on the same row unless you say Flex wrap. The default is no wrap. But if I say to wrap, then look at what just happened. So this is all being considered one row, but I have said that the width of these boxes should be about 30%, which means only 3 of them can fit on a row. So what does it do with the rest of them? It wraps them. So that is a very useful thing, especially when we start talking about responsive design and media queries. This is very, very useful to do this. You can even control the order of things. So this flex direction, this was row, but watch what happens if I say row reverse. So remember my items are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But now they're 3, 2, 1 on this row, and then 5, 4. So you can use this if needed to sort of change the order of your boxes. But we're going to keep it like this for right now. Right? So now we see that we can align these boxes. You'll see if as I shrink this, it's still trying to maintain basically 3 boxes on one line. All right, I'm going to stop this video and pick this up in the next video, and talk about how we can control, we can reorder the things if we want to, and then go on to the next section of our page.